सो हेलो गाइस, वेलकम बैक। आज हम लोग लीड कोड POTD सॉल्व करेंगे। सो प्रॉब्लम डिस्क्रिप्शन ये है कि आपको एक इंटीजर n देगा एंड आपको फाइंड करना है लॉन्गेस्ट डिस्टेंस बिटवीन एनी टू एडजेसेंट वन इन देयर बाइनरी रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ n. इफ देर आर नॉट टू एडजेसेंट वन, रिटर्न 0 and two one are adjacent if there are only 0 separating them. The distance between two ones is the absolute difference between their bit position. For example, the two ones in 1001 have distance of 3. Okay, so if you see, if n is 22, the answer is 2, because in the binary representation of 22 have maximum bit difference between two one is 2. So it will given by this segment. Okay, and it is there is only one set bits. Okay, so answer is 0. And if you see, if n is 5, so it will give you answer 2. And if you see the constant is at most goes to 10 to the power 9 and at least is 1. Okay, so let's see how we will solve this problem. So if you see, if you have a number n, let's say 22, and in their binary representation of 22 is 1 0 1 1. Okay, so if you see, in the binary representation of 22 is 0. Okay, so if you see, the index starting from in binary index is from right to left, so 0 1 2 3 and 4. So 1 present at index bit position 4 and bit position 2 and 1. Okay, so if you see 4 2 and 1, so 4 and 2 is a two consecutive one which is separating from 0. Okay, and their bit difference, absolute bit difference, it will give you ABS of 4 comma 2 is 2. And if you see another, so 2 and 1 is also a two consecutive one, so it will give you ABS of 2 minus 1 is 1. So maximum of both 2 and 1 is, it will give you 2 answer. Okay, so if you see another example, if you take another example, n is, let's say, take 10. So in binary representation of 10 is 101, so 0 1 2 3. So 1 is present 3 bit position, 1 is present is 1th bit position, so 3 minus 1, it will give you 2 answer. So how will you solve this problem? So for that, you will have to firstly convert n into binary form. Okay, which is decimal to binary. Okay, so how will you convert this problem? So if you see, and you know the things, how technique how to convert a decimal to binary. Okay, so for that, firstly you will have to take either a storage for 0 and 1. Okay, because in binary form there is only 0 and 1. So for storage purpose, either you take a string, or may you take list in Java, or may you take vector in C++, or then after you will have to run a while loop, or maybe do while loop or while loop, for loop. Okay, okay, so if you see, so let's take vector int. So we are firstly see the brute force, then after we will optimize this approach. Okay, so let's take a nums which is store the either 0 or 1. Okay, then after we will run a while loop, and n will run until the becomes 0. Okay, then after we will find a remainder of by dividing of 2, because why 2? Because if you dividing any number by 2, it will give a remainder either 0 or 1, and this is the binary form. Okay, so this binary form, it will push into the vector. Okay, so rem. Okay, then after you will divide 2. Okay, so if you see if we have n is 10, so 10 divided by 2, it will take modulo 0 and quotient is 5. So again 2, quotient is 2, modulo is 1, then again quotient is 1, modulo is 0, then again quotient is 0 and modulo is 1. So if there is a quotient is 0, then we will have to stop the operation. So if you see in a nums, the um, order is of 0 1 0 1, so which is the reverse order of the 1 0 1. So just reverse the nums. Okay, begin and nums dot end. Okay, then we'll have to uh, store the another index of 1. Okay, because in this arrangement 1 0 1, so 1 is present at this position and this position, so we will have to only concern about the 1. Okay, okay, so for that we'll have to run the loop I बराबर 0 and I less than n and I plus plus. Okay, so if nums of अगर 1 है तो आप क्या करोगे, उसका इंडेक्स पोजीशन को आप 1 में स्टोर कर लोगे, 1 डॉट एड में उसको स्टोर कर लोगे. ठीक है, आफ्टर एडिंग दिस वैल्यू आपको जस्ट करना क्या है, सो आपका ऐड में क्या आ जाएगा, 1 में आ जाएगा आपका बीट पोजीशन 0 1 2 3, सो 0 एंड क्या आ जाएगा, 2 आ जाएगा. देन आपको उसको बाद रन करना पड़ेगा 0 से लेकर साइज ऑफ 1 तक. देन उसके बाद आपको एक आंसर लेना पड़ेगा, मैक्सिमम ऑफ आंसर एंड विच इज 1 ऑफ I minus 1 minus 1 of I. Okay, which is the absolute value. If you see the absolute value, which is ABS. Okay, so if you see, this will take lots of space and time complexity. If you see, for these things it will take log n time complexity. It will take log n for reversing the number, reversing the nums, and it will take again log of n space complexity, and it will take also what, log of n space complexity. So if you see, the time complexity and space complexity will be the same, I think, and space complexity will be the same. Okay, so now if you see you can optimize this. Time complexity would be log of n, and space complexity you can write an algorithm in O of 1 extra space, constant space. Okay, so firstly we will implement this brute force, then after we will implement the optimal approach. Okay, so let's dive into the code. So firstly we will see the brute force. So if you see, for storing purpose we have to just take a nums and while n greater than 0 int rem in modulo 2 and nums dot push back what, rem. Okay, then after n divided by 2, then after reverse the nums dot begin and nums dot end. Okay, then after we will take another vector for the only one. So I बराबर 0 and int nums dot size and I I plus plus, and if just take a charger. Sorry guys. So if nums of I barabar 1, so just store their index of their bit position I. Okay, now what answer is my answer will be the my returning. Then after just run the loop from int 1 dot size and I plus plus. Okay, so answer is maximum of answer and 1 of I minus 1 of I, and this is the what absolute difference. So we'll have to take a ABS, then after return the answer. Okay, okay, so if you see this is the if you see the time complexity it will take log of n. Okay, and it will take also O of log n, because the number present in the nums is only log of n, because we are running a loop while how many times, log of n times. So it will take a space also log of n, time is also log of n, so it will take me log of n time complexity. Okay, so how, and also if you see the space complexity, it will take O of n. Okay, so in a space complexity you can optimize into O of 1. Okay, so how, so if you see the concept, if there is a number n is 22 and their binary representation is 10110, so only we will have concern about what, the current bit of index 1 and last bit index of 1. Okay, so only we will have to store the current index of 1 and previous index of 1. So if there is a current and there is a previous value, then we will just subtract this value and store the answer. Okay, so how will you do this? Let's see. So if you see, so let's dive into the code. So if you see, so only we'll have to concern about the what, 0 and current is 0 and previous is what, minus 1. Okay, then we'll have to run a loop, then after take a remainder is what, n modulo 2, and if we check if the remainder is 1, then we will write the condition. Okay, there is also a what, for indexing purpose we will take another counter variable which is starting from 0, and if current is 0, not current is 0, if previous is minus 1, we will store the previous current value. Okay, and if you see, C and T will be increment every times, and n divided by 2, and if you see, if previous is not minus 1, we will what, we will do the answer of maximum of answer ABS of current minus previous. Okay, and after that we'll have to reassign the update the previous value. Okay, then after we will return the answer. So where I will, so the thing is, okay, and also we'll have to assign the current into CNT. Okay, so if you see, this is the optimal approach. Okay, okay, so it will take how many times? Only time complexity O of log n. Okay, O of log n, and the space complexity is, the space complexity is TC आपका क्या है? O of log n, एंड आपका स्पेस कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी जो है SC जो है आपका O of 1 है. Okay, because you are not taking a n times storage for the storing the binary number 0 and 1. You are just taking a only constant space for current, previous and answer and CNT. These are the 4 variable will take a constant space in a memory. Okay, okay guys, that's for all today. We will meet again tomorrow for the new problem POTD. Okay.